Okay. Good evening. My name is Festus, and you're welcome to the Kundeson podcast. Today with me is Dr. Sylvester, but I would like him to introduce himself. Doc, over to you.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. My name is Steven Sylvester, or Dr. Sylvester, as he said. So it's nice to be here.
Okay. Today's interview, we're actually talking about the RVPO,
Yes.
or the Temporary Residence Permit with education, or
Temporary Residency Permit for educational purposes.
For educational purposes.
Yes.
Yeah. So, can you introduce yourself? Just give a brief story about yourself before we continue.
So my name is Dr. Steven Sylvester, and I completed Stavropol State Medical University and came to Russia, I think, in 2017 or so. So I've been here for some time, and there's nothing much to say actually. So that's just something brief about myself. So.
Okay. Thank you very much. Let's just dive straight into it. We know you've recently attained your temporary residence permit.
Yeah,
or is it
correct.
Permanent residence permit? Which of them?
Temporary
Residence permit. Okay. So this interview is going to help us teach other people the process and how you went by it. So can you briefly share a motivation for staying in Russia? Why you applied for this temporary residence permit?
Alright, so I think as someone, I mean, we all have a different kind of plans, most especially if you get to your final year. There are certain people who have specific kind of plans, like right after medical school, this is where I'm going. So if you think whatever aim or whatever goal you've set out to achieve, like you have the aim, like right from here, I'm going here. If you think you can just go about it straight away after your medical school, then there wouldn't be any need for you to do this temporary residence permit. But for some of us just do not want to put all the eggs in one basket. We just want to have so many options. So I think so if you're about completing or graduating and then you think your options are few, now the applying for the temporary residency permit for educational purposes should be one of the things you should consider. That is, if you don't have this kind of, if you don't have how am I going to suppose? If you don't have like the options you have are few. So it's going to be a very good thing for you to consider if you want to skip.
So like that means not going through the traditional way. Okay. Which is like complete medical school, go back to your country, or probably write your exams and
Yes.
Okay. And then let's just dive straight into it. I wanted to ask about what steps did you take to apply for the temporary residence permit?
So now one thing before I answer that question, one thing a lot of people should consider is that we have the temporary residency permit, we have the temporary residency permit for educational purposes, and then we have a permanent residency. Now everybody in Russia, as far as you're here legally, qualifies for the temporary residency permit. However, every region or every state in Russia have a specific number of quota, just like slots. For example, in Stavropol, probably maybe we have about 100 quotas. That 100 quotas are meant to be for like 100 people. Now you're supposed to get the quota first before you can get the temporary residency permit. This is without education purpose, just temporary residency permit.
The regular one.
Yes, the regular one. And there's a lot of competition for that. So you'll be competing with other people from, let's say, Turkmenistan, Azerbaijan, all competing for 100 slots. Every state or region have the number of slots they have. Stavropol, I think, is less than 200. And so, if you're a student and you know the kind of school you go to is accredited and then is recognized by the Russian Federation, then the advice I want to give is, that is, if you have any future plans of trying to stay here for a while or for a longer period, is to go for the temporary residency permit for educational purposes. That's going to be the topic of discussion. So temporary residency permit for educational purposes is different from temporary residency permit. So, as I said, so some of the requirements or the processes involved in this is that first of all, you need to be in an institution that is recognized, like by the Russian Federation, like an accredited institution. You need to be recognized, and so if you are in such an institution, that means automatically you qualify for the temporary residency permit. Yes. So, for example, so this is how it is. Even if you come as a new student in your first year, you qualify to apply for it. If you're in second year, if you're in third year, but those who probably will be doing language courses now and might be thinking of trying to apply for it, for you, I can't say for sure. But what I know is once you start your official classes, like from first year to whatever year, if it's a medical school, first to sixth year, if it is an economic school or whatever school it is. So whatever school it is, if your bachelor degree is 4 years, you can also go ahead and then apply for it. So if you're in first year, for example, any first year student can apply for it. If you go, you apply, and then after applying, this is what they give you the rest of your 5 years you have left, like to complete your course plus extra 6 months. Now, the kind of documents you'll be needing. So the kind of documents you'll be needing to apply for such a thing is, first of all, you should get your a police report. The police report is one of the most important things. Some people call it different with police report, police certificate. Mostly, if you get that is going to be the first step, because that's one of the most challenging things a lot of students actually find themselves in, like to try to get a police report. So if you get a police report, you now go ahead, legalize the police report from the embassy. And then after legalizing the police report from the embassy, you have to take it to a place in Moscow. I mean, they have so many addresses, but they call them MFETSE. But most of the times in your cities, you see some of these government buildings with Moy document. It's just another name. So Moy document. So people in Moscow will also have to go there for it to be authenticated by the Ministry of, I think, Interior. So once that is done, and then you have it. If you have it, then you can go ahead and then put the rest of the documents needed, and then you can go to the immigration office and officers. So they go ahead to fill the form. So the form is mostly filled by the immigration officers. So they fill the forms. Now there's also the options of you filling the form by yourself. There's an option for you to fill the form by yourself. But the thing is, if you try to fill the form by yourself and then you commit any error or any mistake, even if it's a full stop you're supposed to put, if you didn't put it, they'll send you back to refill the whole thing. So some of us try to, stay clear of the stress, and then we just allow the immigration officers to fill it. So once they are done with the filling, so apart from filling forms, you also have to go with get something we call Spravka and Vypiska. So the Spravka is actually a letter from your dean's office that indicates that you're still a continuing student. So if you're in first year, it indicates you're still a continuing student in first year. If you're in second year, it indicates you're still a continuing student in second year. And the Vypiska is a letter, like your admission letter, a letter the school has to give you, like to indicate that, of course, you were given admission into the school. So that is the Vypiska. So you have Spravka, Vypiska, and then you also have to get your medical certificates. Those medical tests we do yearly basis. Yeah, so you're supposed to have all the certificates, updated ones. So for example, if you did a medical test, let's say last year around March, and then you want to apply this year you're in January, so that means they've not expired yet. You can still use them. But anything beyond March, you have to go and redo the test and then use the updated version of the test to apply. So apart from the medical test, you also have to So yeah, the police report as well, and also the green card. The green card that most of us have from doing the dactyloscopy, you also have to have it too. The inspector will ask you whether you have it or not. If you don't have it, then they will have to stop you there, and then you have to get that before you can proceed. And then we also have you have to pay estate duty. At that time, we paid 1,600 rubles. But right now, I think it's about 1,950. Mostly that's the amount you paid for your visa to be renewed. So that's actually the state duty. So yeah, so far that's just the summary of it. So